Thank you, everybody. It's getting late in the afternoon. I don't want to disrupt drinks or anything like that. How are we going? We've got a little clicker and hopefully arrow forward. Yep. Look, China Hongqiao Group. Did anybody know of China Hongqiao Group? Who's got an iPhone? Who's got an iPad? Okay, you probably have 5 or 6 grams of China Hongqiao aluminium somewhere embedded in that. And so we're sort of kind of on the big end of town. Our first half revenues this year would have been about 15 billion Australian, and we produce over 6 million tonnes of aluminium, primary aluminium each year. We did 3.22 in the first half of the year. I can't tell you exactly what we're going to do for the full year, and I had to drop out the disclaimer slide because Jeff won't give you enough slides. And so I've got a big presentation that Jeff can send to you, and it's got the disclaimer, so make sure you read the disclaimer. We're big in alumina as well, and we're going downstream more and more into value-added product, lightweight design and prototype, and all of this is being driven off the commitment that we have to deliver a sustainable future. Jeff posed the question in Brisbane. I've got to stay near this thing. Jeff's posed the question in Brisbane, how to abate a hard-to-abate industry. And the answer when? Answer still. It's corporate commitment. Management to lead the way. Unless there's corporate commitment, you're buggered. You're not going to get there. And you've got to have that also, goes along with that, you've got to have financial strength, and you've got to have technical strength. And you've got to have stakeholder commitment. Everybody's got to be in there. What's the word of the day? Collaboration. What's the other word of the day? Partnerships. And unless you've got all that stuff going in the same direction, you're not going to get there. Suppliers, customers, everybody. That's the simple message. We've got 10 initiatives. You can read them through, but let's just focus on a couple. And it's transformed the energy structure for us because we're in China. To get our emissions down, we've got to fix the energy part, the energy transition. I'll stay somewhere near this. On the left-hand side, 55 to 70% of our reduction is going to come from the energy sector. And Tim did half my work for me before. Thank you, Tim. And then the circular economy. We're in the circular economy. And Capral talked about how the recycling all goes overseas. Well, and the reason is it's too small here. We've put in a 500,000 tonne recycling facility. You can't do that in Australia. You don't have it. We've got it. China's already recycling about 10 million tonnes a year. And those numbers are big. Takes a long while to work it out. It took me a while. Where do we get our strength from? Well, we've been upgrading our technology always. Our smelters, our average smelter age is below 10 years old. North America, 50 years old. Europe, the same. And they're running technology that was beyond it when we first entered this industry. We didn't enter the industry until 2001. So we've only been there 22 years. And the stuff that we had in 2001 is gone, long gone. Here we are. And so how are we competitive? We're using 1.5 megawatt hours less electricity than Europe and North America. Now, if you're here, got time, you can multiply 1.5 megawatt hours by 6 million, our production, and what do you get? 9 million megawatt hours that we're not buying. Somebody else is, we're not. Commitment to green, and this is where it comes down to. Tim had some fantastic numbers up there. What's China doing? And for us, this is our commitment. We're moving from coal-fired electricity to green or low-carbon aluminium. To get there, you've got to do a lot of work. Got to increase that energy. And the tricky thing is, you can't rely on somebody else all the time to do it for you. What's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years? Everybody wants low carbon electricity. Everybody. And can you outbid a data center for the cost of electricity? No, you're screwed. You've got to do it, and you've got to make sure you have it. Here's what we did, what we started, and what we are doing. China Hongqiao Group was in Shandong. Shandong is coal-based electricity, essentially. It's changing, but not yet. And we have relocated 2 million tonnes of our production in what's called Yunnan Hongtai. That's one of our subsidiaries. And that shifts us out of a total coal-based electricity model into Yunnan, where we can use hydro and some solar, some wind. The Yunnan grid is about 85% green, low carbon. Let's call it low carbon. And so that shows the difference that comes. And then we're in the process. We started building Yunnan Hongtai in 2020. It was completed in 2023. There's what's called China Speed, and there's also what's called Weiqiao Speed. We're part of Weiqiao. Weiqiao owns 64% of China Hongqiao. And my chairman, who employed me, still employs me, my chairman is also the chairman of Weiqiao, if you're trying to pick out the family. It is a family company, Weiqiao. China Hongqiao is listed. And so, to go forward, we've got to do more. We can move those 4 million tonnes. We've got Hongtai has already got the 2 million tonnes in there, and it'll probably do somewhere about 1.5 million tonnes of low carbon, not green. There's no such thing as green primary aluminium at this point. We'll come back to that. But we're keeping on going. And so Honghe, that was the other one, Honghe, that's another 2 million tonnes that we're shifting out of Shandong. And that will come on stream at the end of 2025 into 2026. Now, this is all connected to China's carbon commitments, China's goals, and that is peak carbon by 2030 and net zero 1 and 2 by 2060. My chairman has committed to peak carbon by 2025 and net zero by 2055, 5 years in front of China. And so we're into low carbon electricity. And with some luck, it's going to happen. And here's one project. Bloody microphone. Here's one project. And this is, don't worry about the Chinese, I can't read it. It's the start of 2 gigawatts of solar. It's a solar farm, but it's an aquaculture solar co-venture. It's got to have a shrimp fishery underneath it. Don't know much about the shrimps, but what this is to show you is how big a solar farm is. This is going to be 33 square kilometres. So if you think of where Parliament House is up on String Street, that's 2.5 or almost 3 kilometres. So double that length and put it on the width as well, and that's what a solar farm of 2 gigawatts is going to look like. We're only up to, when this was made, it was 650 in site. We're now up to 800. We're feeding that straight into our own transmission system and into our smelters. So there's a major commitment to achieve these sort of things. I've got a question for Tim and a question for everybody, and you can give me the answers later. Tim's question is, how much do you think that costs us to build? Don't answer. And for everybody, when we get well, you can either do it now or when we get to 2 gigawatts. Do you have any idea of how many solar panels are there? Just think about it.
2.4 billion.
You're a bit under. Was that dollars?
US.
US. A little bit. 1.9. 1.9 billion US is the cost of putting that in.
I was including the wind turbines.
No, wind turbines don't belong to us. They're separate. But if you wonder, can you do this without money? Forget it. You've got to have money to deliver this stuff, and so therefore you need that management. You need that corporate commitment. You're not going to make it, and somebody else will take it off you. So that's just a still shot of the same thing. You can't do it. There's all sorts of things. And the first thing you've got to realise, it's not easy. Everybody knows that by now. You've got to have a full toolbox. You need all the bits to deliver. And we've got to go forward. Like we're still at 100 million tonnes of CO2 emissions a year. But we're quite unique. And when we take that energy component out, we'll have taken out, well, by the time we get the 4 million tonnes running, we'll have taken out close to 50 million tonnes of our footprint in a matter of 5 years. But we can't do that for the next 50 million tonnes. You've got to do other things. We're into new energy vehicles. We've bought a car company. I made a mistake. They said to me, oh, we've just bought BMW. Oh, that's good. No, you misunderstood. We said, we've just bought BAW. And BAW is Beijing Automotive Works. But it doesn't matter. We bought the thing, and we're now in vehicles. We're not into Teslas. We're not going to give you a car so mum can drive the kids to sport on Saturday and you can go to church on Sunday, and you feel very proud because you've used it for an hour a week, and fantastic. We're into commercial vehicles. We're going to commercialise the city, courier vans, run for 20 hours a day, and you get value out of those things. All the trucks, your utilities like waste and all that, that's what we're into. It's another way of delivering. But what we're doing is investing in the future. How are we going, Tom? You've got to do this in combination with everything else. You've got to have research, and you've got to take the technology. And so we're into a lot of research projects. We've built a joint university with the University of Chinese Academy of Science in Binzhou, the city where most of our operations were, in Shandong. And it's about integrating science, education, innovation and production to promote industrial innovation. Somebody today touched on it. What we're doing is linking technological and commercial worlds so that you don't have a gap of a couple of years because the researchers were over there and they said, we've got this good idea, and then you've got a commercial bunch over there and you've got to bring them together. You've got to start together so you deliver and you take out the gap, and it works. But again, it'll cost you money. What are we doing? We're maintaining clusters. This is partnerships in another way. We don't. Capral had an example, which is true in Australia, where they talked about you take the metal and you then fabricate it. Well, most of that goes through a cast house, and they make ingots and so forth. We deliver 90% of our metal direct to the customer as hot molten metal, right? So we take out the cast house. Cast house costs money. They cost me money. They cost you as the customer money. And you get this lump of aluminium, solid, and then you've got to reheat it and remelt it before you can do something with it. So 90% of our stuff goes to a customer as molten metal. That's another efficiency, and that's where we make our money. You don't make money just making aluminium. You've got to think about what you're doing with it. We're into renewable energy and operation efficiency. We're running 600 kA pot lines. We've still got some 400s, but North America is running 240s, 260s. Australia, sorry, but you're doing less than 300s. You might have an AP30 up in Tomago and somewhere, but basically we're running more or less double the size. We're getting 4.5 tons of metal out of a pot per day on a 600 line. Somebody here in Australia is probably getting 1.5 tons per day out of a pot. Doesn't sound much, but an operational efficiency, if you want 1,000 tons of metal and you're only getting 1.5, well, let's call it 2. Would be nice. Let's call it 2. That means you've got to suck 500 pots to get 1,000 tons of metal. We're only sucking 230, 240 pots to get the same metal. So your operational efficiency is significant and is important. And that all drives an efficient industry. R&D, we must have more and more research. We've got to strengthen the talent pool in the industry and the development opportunities, accelerate scientific and technological adoption, and uphold the core value of serving the country and benefiting the people. Unless you're doing that, what are you here for? Thank you very much.